Good morning, good morning, good morning, guys. Welcome to Love Letter to Grief. Quick disclaimer if this is your first time to the stream, I just want to let you guys know that this show is a little different. So make sure that you guys are just kind of giving you the heads up. The show is about grief. Uh, every Sunday, we have a guest that comes on that shares a love letter to someone that they've lost. So it's a little different. It's not like one of our fun, happy go lucky streams, but I think it's very necessary to have the show. Also, quick disclaimer you may get a little sad, but don't leave. Stick it out. I promise you at the end, it'll all come together. We always make it come full circle. Hopefully, something you hear today will be beneficial to you or to somebody else that you may know that's going through something similar. So I'm going to bring Emoji J in. He's going to show you guys my book trailer, and the book trailer is I wrote a book. Here it is. The book is called Love Letter to Grief: Learning to Walk by Faith. You can get the book on Amazon, or you can direct message me directly on IG, and I can send you a copy of it. The book is a book I wrote after losing my husband. I kind of journaled my grief journey, the things I kind of went through, things that kind of were helpful to me. And, I was hoping that I could use my own story to help somebody else. And so that's the reason we have the show every Sunday. He's going to show you guys the book trailer. Then we're going to get started with our guest. And we're going to go ahead and get started now.
On May 6, 2017, I lost my husband. That sounds so innocuous, doesn't it? I lost my husband. As if somehow I misplaced him. As if I set him down somewhere and forgot to pick him back up. As if I let him out of my sight and forgot the last place I saw him. The truth is, I didn't lose my husband. He died. People always say to me, I don't know how you do this. They don't know just how close you and I have grown. Faith, you are how I push through. Faith, you are how I am okay. Faith, you are the reason I did not give up. Without you, I would have allowed myself to fall short of God's glory. Without you, I would not have trusted God, and what a scary, lonely place that would be. Faith, you are the substance of things hoped for, and the evidence of things not seen. But you are also the source of power and strength that I never knew I needed so much. My faith in God, His promises, His word, are the answers to how I survived this chapter of my life. Without my faith in God, the story would have ended far worse. The pages of my life would have read quite differently. But with my faith, I will continue to push through, because although the grief journey is tough, I also know I will never walk it alone. This is my love letter to you, about my feelings for you, a letter to not giving up, not giving in, and learning to walk by faith every step of the way. May the lessons I've learned, the stories I've shared, and the letters I've written be an inspiration to that broken heart I experienced the day I lost my husband. May my heartbreak be a source of light to help another broken heart find its way out of the darkness that grief creates.
Okay, so typically I start the show off reading one of my letters from my book. And okay, so I'm going to read this particular letter. It's the letter I wrote February the 27th, 2018. And it's titled Dear Grief. I've often wondered lately what words can be used to comfort someone with a bleeding heart. What can you say to someone whose world has been ripped apart? We hear the following: God makes no mistakes. It's going to be okay. It all happens for a reason. But what if there is no reason? What if it all doesn't make sense? What if we get to the end hoping that it all comes full circle, and just like that, the circle is as empty as your soul has been since your heart has been left in a million pieces? I've come to learn that my faith, this invisible thing in my soul that I count on for my sanity, it won't allow me to sit here in pain and uncertainty too long. God continues to show himself to me, and the angels he sends to take care of my broken heart continue to whisper encouragement into my ears. You will be okay. It will get better. It's not over. God has not forgotten you. Your loved ones will forever be in your spirit. Life will continue, and so will you. Sometimes grief will sneak up behind you and try its best to pull you to the ground. I turn around and look it square in the eyes and say to it, no. And one day I pray that when I say no, I actually believe it myself. For you can't be the death of me. Grief cannot be my finale. This is to the broken soul and the shaken faith that one faces when losing a part of their soul. I pray with you and for you because I understand. It will be okay. You will be okay. God has not forsaken you. God has not forgotten you. It will get easier. You will find a new way to cope. You will smile again. You will laugh again. You will feel the approval within your soul that you have the right to live, to love, and to be happy. So that's my letter. Now we're going to bring our guest on, which is Queen Lala, and she is going to share her love letter that she wrote to grief and share her story with us. And if you guys don't have her faves, make sure you guys hit her with the favorite. And I met her on this very show over a year and a half ago, I think, over a year ago. How are you
Yep,
doing, love?
almost 2 years. Almost 2 years ago now. And I'm already getting misty. I found you in the darkest times of my life. I was um I was on this this chatting app that he and I were on together, and I just took it out on everybody, and it was nasty, and I ended up losing a lot of friends from that app. So I ended up coming to this app, and I found you on a Sunday where it was a bad day, and you've helped me. And I know that I've told you thank you so much. That's why your name is in my name, because you
Oh,
helped me along the way with my grief, widow to widow. So I appreciate you. Um, my husband, John Mike, um, he passed away from drug overdose. He left me with two beautiful daughters that I'm so grateful that I have, and he just wasn't strong enough um, to get through um, and beat his addiction. But I'm here, and I advocate for him, and I let everybody know that highly functioning addicts are real, and highly functioning addicts are a thing, and they need you. They need you as much as the addict on the street. They need you just as much as the addicts in rehabs that don't want the help. They need you just as much. My husband was a highly functioning addict, and would do he would do heroin, and I wouldn't even know that he had done it. I would only know because he had a terrible back, and he would be squatting and doing all kinds of crazy stuff. But that's what I advocate for now, and I guess I'll read my letter. It says, "Dear John Mike, I've tried to write you this letter so many times. I think I have a hard time because I can't accept that you're gone." And I wrote this letter on Father's Day of 2021. Um, I still feel and look for you. I get a feeling over my shoulder, and I know it's you. The day you died, I fainted when it all caught up with me that you had physically departed from this world. I remember my family frantically whisking me inside from the porch and into my bed, and the feeling coming over me that I have to tell our eldest daughter. She didn't understand, but she took it so well until one day she asked me, "When were you gonna come home from heaven so that she could call you?" I'll never forget the innocence that left my daughter's face and that left my daughter's eyes when she realized that her best friend in the whole entire world she would never see again. She would never feel again. She'd never hear your voice again. She'd never share with you again. in your physical body. And that for me has been the toughest part is my daughter's own grief. Our first Father's Day without you, and people are wishing me a happy day. I hate this. I hate it. I wish you were still here to have a happy Father's Day. And I took a break from social media today just for the week, but it's been a year. June 26th, 2020. 6-26, 6/26/2020. However way you write it, our lights flicker, and I know it's you. The TV acts up, I can't fix the volume, and I know it's you. The butterflies, the moths, the birds, the birds, the birds. There's so many birds, there's so many bird symbols, and they're all you. I haven't been okay, but I try my best for our girls. That little dream of ours, she looks more and more like you every day. It bothers me that you'll never get to parent her. She deserved you too. My soulmate. It's so easy to focus on the hurt. We're all still hurting like hell. You left, and so did a piece of my spirit. But I stay brave because I know that killing myself would be so selfish. And I also know that you'd be sad to see me so soon. Who lives, who dies, who tells your story? That song rings so true. I miss you. I'm working on living without you, and it's not easy. The big life milestones will always be tough. I try not to look too far ahead, just day to day. Like I wish you would have learned, just one day at a time, just one step at a time. I try not to think about the graduations, the weddings, the other deaths, the goals that I've achieved, and you're not here. No, I'm not okay. I think I've reached the point in my grief journey where I have begun to bargain with God because I just keep begging to switch places with you. I'd give my left nut to hear your laugh, or to get your advice, or to get one of your infamous forehead kisses with those big warm hands on each side of my face, and me complaining in my head about how your hand oil is going to go into my pores, and the long drives with the girls in the back seat with us holding hands driving down A1A, listening to your girlfriend Taylor Swift, laughing about how you were catching your second win, listening to Ariana Grande in the skid steer today, listening to Problem. You're such a big goof. But I also remember the bad, and it's tough to miss you when I remember the bad. And I struggle with that a lot, but I am learning to grow and to miss you. I'm learning that growing and missing you is the level of misthood. It what? And the level of misthood is the same. Sorry. The growing and missing you is the same level of misthood is the same. Sometimes we go in the red because of my best friend anxiety, but then we come back around, and I just try to remember you fondly and not the addict. And with that, I finally have finished. I still love you with all of my being, and I'm so grateful to have your girls, and I'm so grateful to have been yours. I'm so grateful for the life you gave us, and I'm so grateful to have known and love you. I will love you forever until we meet again, my love. Please save me a seat on the other side. Love your wife. Sorry.
And I'm not a huge fan of
Thank you.
uh
That's it.
I felt like every
okay,
single
I'm
part of
looking.
it.
I'm
Like,
looking.
Thank you.
really
It was
beautiful.
it's been a long road um that I wouldn't have been able to do without you and without your book. Um I bought your book after I couldn't wait for you to send me the free one. Couldn't wait any longer. Uh, Coming every Sunday here and listening to other widows and other people. What's creative writing, creative soul, something like that. Her letter to her brother absolutely took me out, and I ended up buying your book and finding my way through that. And again, I thank you so much for that. I thank you so much for being here and for having this platform and doing with it what you did, because otherwise I don't think I'd be here. And I'm grateful for that. So thank you so much, Travel, for this show and for helping people like me that want to go be with their husband, but it just wouldn't be fair and it just wouldn't be good. So I really appreciate you for helping me survive my grief. I appreciate you.
You're trying to make me ugly cry.
I'm not trying to make you ugly cry, but thank you for ugly crying. I know that means that you feel it too. I like to think that he was here today because I couldn't find this notebook last night anywhere. I got up and I used the bathroom and I came back into my room and there it was. I was like, what? And then again, I was looking for this shirt and I was like, ah, man, it's in one of these pajama drawers. And sure enough, it was right on top. So I know that he's here today too, and he appreciates you too. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you. It's your letter is so like I feel like every once in a while you connect with somebody that just gets it. And that's why I love sharing my journey with people. I love talking about it because the hardest thing about grief is feel like you're doing it by yourself.
Yes.
And so able to talk to somebody or hear somebody say something and then everything they're saying, it resonates with exactly how you're feeling. So your letter was amazing. I need a copy of that, but it was amazing. And I feel like even I remember it's the day my husband passed away. I was driving back home, and I was talking to his cousin, who was more like his brother, and he's a pastor. And I was telling him, I was like, man, I don't know why I've been chosen to walk this journey. I said, but I promise him, if nothing else, I will make sure that I use this as a testimony. And I was just like talking to him as if it was like months in. And I don't really remember it, but he recalled the conversation to me. And he was like, I don't understand how you felt this way, like an hour after. But I always feel like with our pain, it makes it less, to me, it makes it less horrible if I know I can use it to talk to other people and share with other people to help them through something. So knowing that, me being so transparent, and for me, there was no other way. Like I wanted to hurt out loud. I wanted, when people asked me how I was feeling, to be honest with people, because I felt like it was the absolute worst thing that I could be going through. And I remember there were times where I kept thinking I was going crazy. Like why? Like it was so hard. And I remember I only had one example of someone that had gone through grief that I could relate to. And it was one of my friends who lost her son the year before. And I know for myself that if she wasn't so honest with me, that I probably would have found myself in even more scarier places. Because everything that you said, like for me, it was never an option. Like you said, I didn't want to do anything to myself, but the pain is sometimes so unbearable that
it's excruciating. It's excruciating to think that the person that you decided to spend the rest of your life with and have children with and start a home with, to just be gone, it's incomparable. You can't compare it to anything, especially when they're your soulmate. And trust me, like, you'll know when somebody is your soulmate, and when you can feel it. I mean, I woke up that morning and I could feel it. Just like when he would unfortunately overdose, I would wake up in the morning and I'd be like, oh man, something's off. Something doesn't feel right. It's a beautiful sunrise. It's a beautiful morning. How am I up at sunrise? What is going on? My daughter is also awake at sunrise. What is going on? And then for me, as a spouse of an addict, you always, when you have your phone and you see a unknown caller call, that's the worst. That is the worst phone call in the world, is to see unknown call come up when you have an highly addictive person in your life, because you know it's the police or you know it's the hospital. And it was finally the call. You know what I mean? I've had so many that, like, when that call finally came in, it was just like, she just asked for me, and I was like, please, I'm in Miami, he's in Jacksonville, please don't tell me this is it. And she was, the worst part too was that we were not legally married. We were getting married in September, and he died in June. And she kept telling me that she needed to reach the next of kin. And I was crying and crying, and I'm like, I am the next of kin. I am. She's like, no, I'm sorry, baby. She knew me too, because of how often this happened, that it was like, no, I need his dad's number. I need his mom's number. I was like, I have his kids. His kids are his next of kin. I'm the proxy for it. No, no, no. We need his next of kin. And that was probably the worst part of it all. It was like, there was nothing that I could do about it, because I was not legally his wife. I was always his wife, but I was not legally his wife. And it wasn't going to happen until September. And here it was June. And he gave up, you know. And I don't think it was on purpose. It was never on purpose, but you get, it's a lesson, really. You know, you get caught up on anything, you can get addicted to anything, and it can take you right out, you know.
Right.
And
What do you
it took him
with
out.
with his passing? And I mean, I know the phone call was probably had to be one of the worst things that you could have imagined. What do you remember, just being like the toughest day after finding out?
Oh, my daughter's birthday, my eldest daughter's birthday. I remember we had such a good day, and it was so much fun that it didn't feel good. And I remember I had put her to sleep and put the youngest to sleep, and I was sitting in here, and I was watching Kevin Hart, No Fucks Given, on Netflix. And I was laughing so hard that the laugh turned into a cry, and the cry turned into a weep, where I had to go into the bathroom and just let it go. And I mean, the snot, the tears, I couldn't breathe. And I was just screaming. It's 4 o'clock in the morning, and I was screaming at the top of my lungs, and I couldn't gather myself. It was unbearable. It was absolutely unbearable. It was only like 2 months after he had passed, but I remember that day very vividly, because it was like the first good breakdown.
Yeah.
After.
It's one of so my friend that lost her son, she always she writes on Facebook a lot. Me and her are very vocal about our journey. And she always talks about how the up days can be so challenging, because you find yourself at the end of them feeling so guilty that you actually, it's like you have the nerve to enjoy life. And it's like grief messes with you to the point that you feel guilty for just existing. So that makes that makes perfect sense.
Yes, survivor's remorse, definitely. Like, again, like I said in my letter, I also, again, in my letter, I took a lot of comfort in Hamilton. I watched Hamilton all of 2020 and all of 2021 after he passed. And that Who Lives, Who Dies, Who Tells Your Story. Oh my God. It takes me right out, because, and even yesterday listening to it, it takes me out every time, because he was, you had, the thing with grief is the thing with life is that it always takes like the good people, you know, everybody that's good, everybody that's that like radical good in the world, that
Mhm.
just too good, you know what I mean? And
Right.
he would help other addicts. He was a sponsor.
Mhm.
He was a great man, you know what I mean? He did everything in his community. He would always go out there to the AA meetings and help with setting up and help with getting speakers and everything. So it was
Mhm.
like, who else is going to advocate like you did? Who else is going to do that? You know what I mean? I try to I tried to do Al-Anon. That didn't work out for me. I'm still trying to find that journey of like what I can do to continue his work, you know what I mean? To continue what he was trying to do for the addicts and what maybe he was missing as the addict.
Mhm.
So I try to do a lot with addiction specialists and learning stuff like that. But with with that who lives, who dies, who tells your story, that like resonates true for me because of that very reason. And like you try your best to like try to stay occupied and try to keep their mission alive, their life story alive. And it's like, well, who can do it besides me? You know what I mean?
Right.
So you take on survivor's remorse, but you also take on kind of like, I don't know, like his life remorse, like just trying to finish what he maybe didn't get to do.
Right. Well, I think the thing is, like I often talk about it. Grief is our final act of love to the person that we loved. So it's like anything that we can do to show that love to other people or share it with other people. If it's keeping their memory alive, if it's carrying the torch that they were carrying while they were here, I feel like it's a very vital part of us healing and getting to where we need to be. One thing that a lot of people that have never gone through grief don't understand is, um, like sometimes people don't know how to help someone. So I know for me there was a couple of things that stand out that were, to this day, I feel like were blessings from people that, and it may have been something small. Was there something that someone, or a couple of examples that you have of someone that kind of said the right thing or did something for you during your grief early on?
Um, I have two friends that are sensitive. They're sensitive to the spiritual world, and I've always known that about both of them.
Mhm.
So when he passed and they reached out to me, I made sure that I answered that call right away.
Mhm.
Um, one of which is my best friend, my sister. She had called me and she had told me, um, I hadn't posted anything yet,
Mhm.
but she had called me and she had told me that she felt that there was something wrong, and I told her that that Mike had passed, and she was like, "That's so crazy." She's like, "I thought it was maybe a daydream I was having." She's like, "But I think that it really was him then." And I asked her what had happened, and she told me that she could see him and that he was helping other addicts pass over on the other side. That he was helping kind of push them through. And
Mhm.
I had ended up getting a phone call, or it's not a phone call, excuse me, a text message shortly after that, that the fifth, there was five friends of his, him
Mhm.
being one, and then the other four friends that all tried heroin when they were 15. They all
Mhm.
shot up together when they were 15, and all five of them passed from heroin overdose, from fentanyl intoxication. That's what they put on the paper, fentanyl
Wow.
intoxication. And the fifth one had passed, and he was helping his best friend Joey along into the next world and trying to help comfort him. My other friend Jessica, she actually went and discovered what was going on with him. Like I said, I was unsettled. I couldn't figure out what was going on, so I had called her. She's one of those friends that you can call and just be like, "Hey, can you drop everything you're doing and go check something out for me?" And she
Mhm.
did, and she went over to my house and saw the police inside my house taking pictures and stuff. Um, and she told me then, like maybe 2 or 3 days later, that she could feel him being frantic and could feel him like trying to figure out what was going on, and that he wasn't quite settled yet. But that when he did settle, that she called me and she told me that he was the butterflies and he was the birds, and that he was there with me like that. So for me, I guess it would be just those signs that he was still here was
Mm-hmm.
important for me, because I always knew that he was going to be really important, but I didn't know just how important he was going to be. And it's crazy that, like, I have people in my life to tell me that he made it to the other side and that he's helping on the other side. It's crazy to hear.
Yeah,
It's
that's a
crazy to
blessing.
digest.
Facts. I mean, I think that sounds like there's something that was really helpful for you. And I think regardless of what that is for everybody, I think we all need something, just something that
Yes.
a little glimpse of just some little glimpse of hope that it's that it's all making sense, that it's all like coming
That it's
together,
all
even though.
real. That it's all
Mhm.
real. That the other side is real, and that he's peaceful over there. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
might not
Do
be
you
able
have
to touch him, and I
visitation
might
dreams?
be able to hear him, but he's there.
Facts. Do you have visitation dreams, or have you?
So I had one, and I know I had one, but I couldn't remember it. It was like I
Mm-hmm.
woke up and it was gone. And for me, I guess that's what, yeah, I knew it was really a visit dream, because I couldn't remember it. But I do remember the little bits that I do remember of it. It was him like laughing, and him being with our daughter in the park, and like pushing the swing, and like pushing the little hair behind my ear. It was like a fog, like a foggy dream,
Yeah.
like an
I,
eerie
I
dream.
Yeah, I talk about visitation dreams with people because some people say they don't have them. Then some people like are like so mad that they haven't had them. But I always explain it to people. I have a lot of visitation dreams, but it was early on. It was super super tough, just because it is literally like a second death,
Yeah.
and it's like I think if you don't remember this, like a no, it's kind of it's not a bad thing because it was one of those things like it's like it happened and I was there and I was just like, oh my God, like, I didn't want to wake up, but it's like my soul knew that it was a dream. And so like even now when I have those dreams, it's never like I think it's not real. I know even in my dream that this is just a little moment. And I'm always saying in the dream, I know this is not gonna last. I know you have to leave. And it's a really, really tough thing. So I always like to ask people about if they have those.
Yeah. I do remember waking up sad. I didn't have a good day. Usually when I feel him or see him or whatever, it's usually not a good day. Like I'm not having a good day, and he'll come to just let me know that everything's okay. Like I said, like I'll have the lights will flicker, or like the the first, I think it was the first day, really, like
Mhm.
maybe the first or second day. I know that when it happened, I live in Miami and I'm from Key West. It's that's only 3 hours south of Miami, and that's where like my mom lives, my grandma, my aunt. A lot of my family is still in Key West. And I remember my mom got here in like 2 hours
Mhm.
to come and take care of me, and to help my grandma and my uncle take care of me. And I just was not good. It was really, really bad. And they had me drugged up and sleeping and everything. And I remember I had woke up, and my mom and her wife and my daughter were in my daughter's room, watching TV. And she's like, the TV is stuck on 28. I keep trying to turn it up. I keep trying to turn it down, and the volume is not moving. And I was like, what do you mean? Well, like unplug the TV or something. I don't know. We unplugged the TV. We plugged the TV back in. The TV was fine. And then like maybe 2 or 3 minutes later, it popped up
Mhm.
again. And the volume was just stuck there. Like he was trying to say something. So we had ended up looking up the number, and I really think the number was like 28 or something like that. And we looked up the
Mm-hmm.
number, and it was a number for like remorse, like he's sorry, like he was trying to say that he was sorry that all of this
Wow.
was happening. Yeah, like he like he it wasn't on purpose, like it was an accident. And my mom kept telling him, saying to the air, telling to him, like, it's okay, Mike. We know that it was an accident. We know you didn't do this on purpose. It's okay. It's okay. And then it finally went away. The little volume bar, it went away on the
Wow.
TV and it stayed off. I haven't had any problems with that TV and any time since then. So I have signs like that because I think I come from a very spiritual family, a very sensitive family. My kids are
Mm-hmm.
very sensitive to it. In in the Cuban faith, in the Cuban heritage rather, we
Mm-hmm.
have what's called a sabache. I think I have one. Oh, it's on there. I usually have it
Mm-hmm.
on my necklace. Babies have it on their wrist. It's this little black bead with little tiny red beads that enclose it, and then like a gold chain.
Mm-hmm.
And pretty much like if you don't put it on your children, we believe that the spirits will be able to come and like pick with the children and stuff because they're so sensitive. They can still see all of the other side, And my kids were always so sensitive to that, where
Mm-hmm.
they both would have to wear their sabache or they couldn't sleep. Literally,
Wow.
they'd be up till 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'd pin their sabache to them, and they'd pass right out. You know what I
Oh.
mean? So for me, my daughters being that sensitive and stuff, I knew that he was gonna come and show
Mm-hmm.
face some kind of way like that. So that was like one of the big signs for me that he was
Mm-hmm.
still around, was that he was saying sorry, and he was, so remorseful and panicky at first. And then it became really peaceful. Like I said, it was real calm in here. I'd see like white shadows, like
Mm-hmm.
a quick passing like that of a white shadow. I know that's like somebody that's good. Um, but also, unfortunately, I don't usually know those kinds of signs if they're really him or if they're my great grandma. That was
Mm-hmm.
like one of my parts of anger with him, in my grief, was that I told him, when he was heightened into his addiction, like, don't you kill yourself before my great grandma, bro. Like, I am already preparing mentally for my great grandma to pass. Don't don't do that. Don't pass before her where I have to force all of that learning onto you. And he did. He passed 32 days before my great grandma. And so when I see signs like that around the house too, I don't really know if it's him or if it's her. Like that quick shadow, I don't know if that was really him. That could have been her, but I chalk it up to him. And then, like I said, I'll feel like a sense over my shoulder that he's there, or I'll feel him
Mm-hmm.
hugging me, like stuff like that is what I'll feel.
Okay, and then one of the questions I do like to ask, because for me, I know my faith was a big part of my grief journey. So, do you feel like your faith was weakened or strengthened? And if both, how?
Yeah, both. So and I think that's always the answer, isn't it? Both. Because at first it's one of those steps too where you're just so angry with God, and you're like, why? Why him? Why now? Why right at this moment? Why couldn't it wait? Why not after this? Why not after that? And you get so angry. And I took a lot of I took a lot of time away from God, where I wasn't going to church and I wasn't listening to church, and hearing the song before Love Letters to Grief was painful because I was so angry with God, and I didn't want to hear the angels crying. I didn't want any of that, because I was crying. Who cares that the angels are crying? I'm crying. What about me? And I was very selfish about it at first. And um and then I am Latter Day Saint. I'm Mormon,
Mm-hmm.
and I will see the missionaries, the little elders riding around on their bicycles, and I would see them a lot, and I would like point at him and be like, okay, God, I see you. He would always send the missionaries to me when I would have something going on that would waver my faith just throughout my full faith journey, you know. And so when I would start to see the missionaries, I was like, what do you want? What do you want, Jesus? What do you want, Lord? What do you want from me? Okay, baby. Okay. I'd be like, what do you want? What do you need from me? Um, and then finally they were right across the street. And I was like, elders, missionaries, you guys, what's going on? And they were like, hey, what's up? Hi, how are you? I was like, I'm good. I'm already a Latter-day Saint. No need to try to convert me. I'm already here. But God sent you to me because I don't want to talk to you. And they were like, well, why don't you want to talk to me? And I spoke to them. And they came and chatted with me. I was like, yeah, come keep an old widow company. And they came and told me a little bit about the widow in the Bible. I can't really remember where it was, but that was odd that they had told me something from the Bible rather than the Book of Mormon. And that's when I knew that it was definitely God. That was part of my my like story to going into Latter-day Saint, was that I made the missionaries teach me out of the Bible. I didn't want to know nothing about the Book of Mormon. You teach me out of the Bible, your religion, and then I'll decide what I want to do. And he had given me the missionary that converted me. He gave me a scripture from the Bible. He gave me a scripture from the Book of Mormon, and they were exactly the same. And that's when I was like, all right, I'll give you guys a chance. So when this young missionary that didn't know me at all tell me that something from the Bible, I knew it was directly from God, and I knew that it was directly from my husband, and it gave me such a comfort to really go back, you know, to really start to listen again and to feel God with me again. And I'm telling you, the days would be so much harder if I didn't have faith. You know, the even 2 years, it's been 2 years. June 26th this year was 2 years, and it's still not easy. You know, people say that it'll be easy as time goes on. And I hate when people say that, because it hasn't gotten any easier. It's only gotten easier because I've chosen to let it get easier. I've chosen to walk by faith with God, and to allow him to comfort me, and to allow him to show me that if I do what I'm supposed to do righteously, that I can go and be with my husband again. And that's my ultimate end of life goal, is to just be with my husband again, you know.
Thanks. Yeah, I think I feel the same way. I often, I've talked to a lot of people about their grief journeys, and I do find that the people um, who don't speak of any faith seem to struggle a lot more, just
I
with
see that too.
everything. And I
You
always,
have
I pray
to.
for those people, because I think, man, I can't imagine this journey without that. I just,
Mm-mm.
it's very
It would be
scary.
such, it would be so hard. You know what I mean? It's it's already hard enough that you can't understand and you can't fully grasp it, especially when it's somebody that you love, especially, thank you so much, especially when it's somebody you love, and somebody, like I said, your soulmate, your brother, your sister, your mom, you know, that was always a hard one to hear about your mom
Hmm.
passing. It's something that it's so, it's as a child, it's inevitable. You hope that you bury your mom, she doesn't bury you. But when it does happen, it's one of those things that you can't explain, you can't understand it. You'll never understand it until it happens to you. I feel like that with all forms of grief, because
Hmm.
grief comes in different losses. I had many losses after him. And I had a friend, I had my godmother, I had my grandma, and all of those grief journeys are different. all,
Thanks.
all of them all of them are very different from each other. And and I've had to take them on, unfortunately, but also fortunately, because I recognize that you can be in denial and you can be angry at the same time. You can also be accepting, and you can also be, in denial at the same time. So it's grief is weird, and I learned that it's all normal.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, again, it's all normal. Even me wanting to unalive myself, it was normal. It's a normal feeling. It's not like, oh, I'm so upset, I'm so depressed that I wanted to. No, I want to be with him. I want to be with my husband. I want to see him again. I
Right.
want to love him again. It's not it comes from a very selfish place, and grief is finicky. Grief is weird.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not fun.
It's like it's one of those things. It's like grief forces you to be with it. That's why like when I wrote the book and I chose the love letter to grief, because I wanted to try to like it was like one of those things. It's like you don't want it, you want nothing to do with it, but you realize the only way for you to make it through is to be with it. And so it's like I feel like it's so intimate. Like it is again, grief is the price that we pay for loving somebody. So it's like, what
Yeah.
other way can I talk to my grief than to express my love through it? So it's definitely a challenge. I mean, it's like you say, you have a million different emotions all at once coming down on you. You never know when the waves are going to come crashing. The happiest moments,
Right.
the saddest moments you end up laughing hysterically. It's so confusing. People try to step in, you lose friendships, people disappoint.
Yes.
And that's one of the other things that's super hard when it comes to grief, because you talked about how you kind of lash out at people during some tough times, but it's one of those things like nobody gets it until they have to get it, and then it's like, oh, I hate that you get it. So I always try to be very patient with people who don't get it, and I try to always look at it from a standpoint of they don't understand it, but it's still
Yeah.
super tough. So can you think of anything, like, just let's say there's someone here that's listening and they may have never gone through grief, so they can't really relate. They don't really know what they should say or how they should say it. What things do you feel like are helpful for someone to reach out to somebody that's going through grief?
Just listen.
Mhm.
Like, that was so important to me. I don't need you to say that you're sorry. Please stop saying you're sorry.
Mhm.
There's nothing for you to be sorry about. It's it's a blessing in disguise, because my husband don't hurt no more. His back ain't killing
Mhm.
him no more. He don't got to do heroin no more. He can just love us and be with us and be around us. So stop saying sorry, and just listen, and let the person that you're listening to know that you're listening. Just, I'm here, and I understand. I'm trying to understand in the best way that I can. Not that you
Mhm.
understand because you didn't love him the way I loved him. You didn't
Mhm.
get to be with him the way that I got to be with him. Just that
Mhm.
you're listening and that you can understand what I'm saying was critical for me,
Mhm.
Sometimes you just need to vent. Um, Sometimes you just need to cry, and you don't want to cry by yourself. So
Mhm.
just be the shoulder. If you're in person with them, you're not on the phone with them, you're in person with them, just give me a hug, you know?
Yeah.
I remember there were days in the beginning where I saw like this meme on Facebook that was like, I'm one hug away from a breakdown. And that was literally me. And I remember just kind of, and it's so terrible. It happened at work. I needed a hug so bad, and nobody was really, they were listening, it was a pretty good, decent way into it all. It was like October. Yeah, it was October last year, and my manager hugged me, and I lost it. I absolutely lost it. So giving somebody that's going through grief a hug, you don't know how important that could be too.
So true.
So
That's one of the
listen,
things that I
listen, give me a hug, and don't say you're sorry. Thank you
Yeah,
very much.
that's one of the things that I miss the most is just like that physical touch. I remember I used to think about that all the time. It's like, oh, I just miss a good hug. Like that's so true. Just
Yeah.
a
It's such an important staple, I think, because um to have like a genuine love, just somebody, they don't know necessarily what you're going through. You're just like, I remember I went into work and I was just like, hey Jamie, do you mind if you just give me a hug? And she was like, oh my God, of course. And she gave me a hug and I broke down and she was like, oh my God, what happened? And we sat there and there was, again, God, there was no
Mhm.
clients that day. There was no clients that day, and we just sat in the salon chairs and cried and talked and cried and talked. And she had lost her cousin to addiction as well, and she had just lost her. And I feel like that's why I was just so like, you know what, you need a hug and I need a hug. Can we hug it out? And
Yeah.
we did. We sat there and we talked and we just before we knew it, it was 6 o'clock. We closed everything up and left. And um, I left that job since, but I still thank her. I still thank her for just that one hug. It was a staple for me. It really
Right.
helped push me along. I ended up getting with my boyfriend at that point. We'll be together a year in October, and
Hmm.
it's good. It's healthy to cry. You know what I mean? Even this cry with this letter, it's such a good thing to
Yeah.
cry. You know,
It's so cleansing.
it is.
Yeah. And I like that you said you asked her for the hug because I always tell myself, and I always try to suggest to other people, you have to imagine a person who has no idea what we're going through. So sometimes a person, if we tell them what we need, they can step up to the plate. So I always tell people, be honest. If someone texts you and say, how are you doing? And it's not a good day, be honest. Don't just say, oh, I'm okay. The last show we had D say on, and he talked about something that's been sticking out in my brain. He said he wished that when he was going through this tough moment, that somebody would have just asked one more question, because he feels like he was just needed that one more question, like, are you okay? And then it's like,
Sure you're okay?
yeah. And
That's
so
what
I
I
think
always need is, are you sure you're okay? Because I'll
exactly.
say, yeah, I'm
You
fine.
okay,
No,
then
but
it's
are you
talk
sure?
about it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's also good. You know what I mean? To when you know that somebody's going through it, to make sure that they're okay. Because not everybody is as vocal. I've always been a very vocal, unfiltered person. Anybody from my stream family can tell you that. I don't give a S about anything, and I will tell you exactly what is in this brain as soon as it comes to my brain. And
Mm-hmm.
even in my letter, I was saying like, no, I'm not okay. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
okay. Are you okay that I'm not okay? Because I'm not okay, and I'm gonna tell you that I'm not okay. I'm not okay today. I'm not okay today. Today I'm okay, but I'm not okay today, and I'm not gonna be okay. I'm not gonna be okay until I get out of here and I can go smoke a blunt. Stop thinking about this. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
okay, you know?
Right.
And that was I think probably the biggest part of my grief journey, is that I am vocal and I can say,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not okay. I need a hug. I need you to listen. Just shut up and listen to me. I don't need you to tell me that you're sorry. I just need you to know that I need to talk, and I need you to just listen to me. I need to talk about him. I need somebody to know about this man. I need somebody to know how much I loved him. I need somebody to know that soulmates are real. I need somebody to know this. You know what I mean? And it was always, that part was always easy for me to talk.
Mm-hmm.
But the hardest part for me was to feel. I didn't want to feel any of this. I didn't sign up for any of this. My one of my anger letters, again, learning from you, wrote a lot of letters, but my letter to anger was so angry, girl. Like, I didn't sign up for this. I didn't choose to be a single mom. I didn't want to be a single mom. It was something I never decided to be. How dare he make me a single mom? I told him this was my worst nightmare. You know what I mean? And just being so angry about it all, to ask me if I was okay. Sometimes on some days, to just to check extra, are you sure you're okay? That was important. That was a pretty important piece. A lot of people um, go through, is that extra reassurance. Like, are you sure?
Mm-hmm. For sure. So, closing, I do want to ask you,
Yes.
can you share with us just that? I just lost my whole train of thought. Literally, just lost my whole train of thought.
Oh,
Oh, okay. So like, so if there's someone that's listening, is there's one thing that you can say to them? It's like some type of encouragement, or just something to kind of help push them through if they're having a dark moment themselves.
Ooh, hold on. Just hold on. Emotions can be tough. Emotions, um, that's what they're there for, to make you feel like you're human, to make you feel like you're alive. And you can't get through it, you can't feel through it if you don't stay here, if you don't push through, if you don't look to the end and see a light. I promise you that you're just too far in. You need to keep going. You need to keep
Mhm.
walking until you see the light, and then run like hell, okay? Because the feelings, they're just feelings, and they'll pass. And stay strong, because there's tons of people around you that love you. Even if you think that there's nobody there, there's always somebody there. Even if it's just one person that you call and talk to about everything, and you think, oh my God, I don't want to call her. I don't want her to have to deal with my stuff. That person, that's the one that loves you. And that's the person that would do a really bad disservice. You would do a really bad disservice to, if you stopped, if you just gave up. You can't give up. That's my biggest piece of advice is, you can't give up. It's gonna be better. It's gonna
Yeah.
be it's gonna feel better too, once you can get through it all. Because once you
Hmm.
get through it all, whew, it'll feel lighter. I don't feel better, but I feel lighter. And I feel that I can look around me, and I can see that he's still there. And I'm sure that if you look around you, you'll see that your loved one is still there too. You just got to open your eyes and think about who they were as a person, for the signs to be there, because the signs are definitely there.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate you for being on the show today.
Thank you for
Who, your
having
letter was
me.
amazing. I'm so proud
Thank
of you.
you. Oh, thank you.
I'm so glad that we crossed each other's paths. Listen, yeah, I need a copy of your letter if you would. But that was
Okay.
beautiful. I pray that someone today here heard something that's helpful to them, or somebody will see this recording and they'll be able to understand why they're going through what they're going through, and know that they're not by themselves, that someone has walked that journey
Mhm.
before. You have two people that have lost significantly and they have made the decision to keep pushing. And it's like I always tell people,
Thank you.
even though it seems impossible, like the letter I read today, it will be okay. You're not by yourself. There are people there. God has not forgotten you. He's not forsaken you. Like, it's a super super tough journey, but I promise you that you can make it through it. And every day you just have to get more and more creative on how to make it through it.
And favorite travel bay, if you haven't already, because I'm telling you, I would not have gotten through it without this show right here. Right here. This love letter to grief, and that book, it'll get you through. It'll absolutely get you through. And you guys, it's Travel Bay. Come on. y'all,
I
y'all already know the business. Thank you so much for having me.
thank you so much. And Emoji J will get the video uploaded sometime within the next couple of days. So once he posts it out, message you and let you know that you can get it in case you want to send it to anybody in your family.
All right. Thank you. All right.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
love.
guys. Bye.
Oh, and North Shore girl, you're here. Oh, I'm so glad you made it. Oh, I'm so glad you're here. So, yeah, that I'm like, I know, like, the week before I started streaming, I sat down and I recorded what I wanted to be my first vlog for my love letter to grief. And I recorded it and I hated it. And I was like, oh my God, I hate the sound of my voice. It sounds weird. I'm crying. It's not going to be like, no one's going to receive what I'm trying to put out there. And then I found live streaming. So even though I love this platform and everything I do on here, the grief part to me is the biggest part, because that's a part of me. Like, I feel like that's one of my ministries that God has selected me to make sure that I'm out here talking to people about grief and listening to people's stories. Because I do know one of the hardest things when you're going through grief is you feel like you keep talking to the same people, and you feel like you're just like unloading so heavily on people all the time, and you think that's unfair. But for me, I feel like people are led to me all the time, and it's just part of this is my job. Like, I feel like I'm supposed to listen to the stories. I'm supposed to take it in. I'm supposed to be a listening ear when somebody needs to talk. So the people I've met on this app through this show, or just through talking about me being a widow, has really been very, very rewarding for me. It lets me know for sure that there's a purpose for me being on this app outside of everything else that I'm doing. So I appreciate you guys for being here and crying with us, because today we was definitely crying. Baby, I was like, Travel, hold it together. Do not. Ooh, because everything she said, I can just feel it in my soul. You know, it's just like sometimes you hear, no, it's a good thing. I love it. Listen, Queen Lala, I joke about it all the time. I cry every single day. It's not usually a sad cry, but I'm a very emotional person. I can look at something and laugh and cry. I can look at anything. Like, it's always something that just pushes some emotion out of me. And it is like the part of me that makes me happiest. Like, I love that I feel, so it's like, I never shy away from that. Like, if y'all say something to me that makes me cry, good. That means I'm here. I'm feeling things. I love that. But your letter, man, whew, it's something really. It really says a lot about something when you meet somebody and they can speak your soul, and that's what I feel like you did today. Like, you literally spoke my soul without me having to say anything. So it was beautiful. I appreciate you. I'm sure that you were a big help to a lot of people here, especially North Shore girls. So I don't know her entire story, but I look forward to her coming on and sharing it. Even if it takes you a year. I don't know how long I'm gonna be on this app, but at least a couple more months. No, I'm just playing. I'll be here. But I'm always here to listen to someone's story, because I feel like not only do we have to understand the grief journey, we have to understand the love journey. Like, why was this person so amazing that made the grief so tough? And so I think when you lose somebody, you want other people to know that person. So thank you guys for being here for Love Letter to Grief. I will be here next Sunday doing this again. So you're lucky. You feel. I am numb. I have disassociate amnesia. It won't take me a year, I hope. Oh, wow. Awesome. Oh, so they were so sweet. Like, that was so sweet. I appreciate everything that you said. But guys, so that concludes the show. Again, thank you guys for being here. If you click on my name, my IG is in my bio, travel_bay_meet me. If you click on my IG, my link tree is on there, which will give you the links to Amazon. If you want to order the book, it'll give you the link to my Cash App. If you want to buy the book directly from me, it gives you the link to my YouTube channel for you to go on there, because every show that we do, Emoji J uploads it to the website. So you can go on there and watch it. And there's a story. There's, like, you may not resonate with the widow story, but there's been a letter that someone shared about losing a sibling, a parent, a child. There's been stories about someone that's dealing with lupus, suicide attempts. Like, the last show about suicide was so emotional and so raw that I really appreciate both of the guests who came on for that. So those are on there. So even if you don't resonate with this particular story, or you may hear a story that you can send somebody else to the YouTube channel so they can watch it. So I appreciate you guys for being here, and thank you. I think I need to go.